A non-believer was I. When I was growing up, my parents required the family to go to church, and for a few years I was sent to a Christian school. But I was not a believer. In fact, I dreaded going to church, and it was embarrassing that I had to attend a church school. I was not against church, as I understood the need to have a place of solitude, a place away from home to gather one's thoughts, and a place where, for an hour, you could get away from it all. But I was cautious of people whose claims of belief in God extended beyond hoping or wishing that God truly existed. People who claimed to know beyond all doubt that God truly existed. In my mind, they were phonies, people led astray, or just lazy people too often sitting around praying for God's assistance when they should have been working. I didn't hate these people, I just felt sorry for them. After all, how foolish was it to believe in someone that you have never laid eyes on, or someone you cannot hear? How could anyone observe a world with such pervasive hurt, hunger, and evil, and yet proclaim beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is a God who cares for and watches over us? Not likely. I was never disrespectful to churchgoers. In some ways I was happy that these needy and weak people had some kind of hope. Then one day in my 40s, I was invited to a men's breakfast, which, after the eggs were gone, turned out to be a Bible study. I never felt so out of place. All the guys were singing to God, praising Him for what little they had, and crying out for what seemed like an eternity. Out of concern, I really wanted to straighten out these grown men, but I kept my mouth shut. The memories of this foolish crying out scene ran through my mind over the next few days. What if they were right? At the time, I couldn't bring myself to take a phony leap of faith and proclaim to believe in Jesus when in fact I didn't. I was tired of thinking about this, so I decided to settle the matter once and for all. I would call out to God myself, of course never expecting to hear anything. Confirmation for me would have to be more than just a vision or a hallucination or a sign in the clouds. But in trying, at least I would have an excuse upon my death and be able to say to God, I tried. I asked you to reveal yourself to me. So while driving to work, I called out to the sky, saying, if you truly created the stars, the sun, water, nature, and all things, surely you can speak to me. I turned off the radio and said, I'm listening. At that moment, my car pulled off the road, and I was compelled to write down all that would be revealed to me. Mesmerized, I began writing as I sat on the roadside for hours, and then on the computer over the next days as the revelation poured out. I was shocked, terrified, and when finished I was afraid to read it, so I took it to my sister, who was a real Bible thumper. She read it and told me that everything was truly biblical, and I had never read the Bible. But she questioned one word. She said the writing included the word happy, and nowhere in the Bible does God use the word happy. The next day I went to church, and the first words the preacher spoke were, is everybody happy? Because God never said He didn't want us to be happy. For the next few years I lived in a daze, somewhere between here and there, trying to understand it all, and more so, why me? Why had God chosen to speak to me, and not to my kind-hearted neighbors? What did it all mean? I bought a Bible and started to absorb it day by day.